Afghanistan's drug trade is flourishing despite the 11 years that have passed since the U.S. kicked off its Operation Enduring Freedom. Even with the Taliban forced from power, the illicit industry is still killing thousands of people around the world. Maria Finoshina examines the deadly multi-million dollar trend, which shows no signs of slowing down.
One million people around the world, all dead due to Afghan opium. And that's in just over a decade from when the U.S. led its Enduring Freedom campaign to rid the country of the tyranny of the Taliban. While the regime came crashing down, it was quite the opposite for the drugs trade. And with Russia now ranked the highest consumer, that's got the authorities worried.
Seeing how heroin production in Afghanistan has risen dramatically since Operation Enduring Freedom was conducted in 2001, it's 40 times higher now. Any impartial observer would admit that the international community has failed to rectify the situation with drug production.
In fact, Russia's drug control chief has described production in Afghanistan as planetary, and the figures prove it. Illegal opium farming in Afghanistan since 2001 has been on a constant rise, increasing by 20 times in the last 12 years. Afghan counter-narcotic officials say this spring an estimated 157,000 hectares of land are being illegally used to grow opium poppies. That's the size of a major European city like London. In each of the 9 growing seasons, there has been more opium poppy cultivation than during any single year of the Taliban's rule. The fields have expanded everywhere throughout Afghanistan. In the south of the country, the rise was not dramatic, but that's only because these regions have remained the biggest drug-growing areas, so there is simply less room to expand. In the country's east, bordering Pakistan, the land seeded by opium poppies is now 10 times larger. This is just one of the country's many gates from where Afghan drugs pass through on their way to every part of the globe, to Pakistan, Iran, Middle East, Turkey, Central Asia, Russia, Europe, Central, Eastern, Western Europe, Africa, and both Americas. Interestingly, in 2011, officially, the country exported $376 million worth of fresh and dried fruits, spices, carpets. For that same year, the UN estimates the country's opium income stood at $1.4 billion. The lion's share of this money obviously goes to district officials, insurgents, warlords and drug traffickers, while the Afghan people get instability and poverty instead. A third of the country's 35 million strong population is jobless, and more than 12 million people live below poverty line. It seems the US-led Enduring Freedom operation all those years ago has left the Afghan people with more than freedom to endure. Maria Finoshina, RT, Moscow.